Welcome fathers who are looking to inspire their kids and become fearless. This is the Become a Fearless Father show and I'm your host, Klaas van Oosterhout. I'm a father of 2 boys, husband and entrepreneur. This show is created to teach you how to take control and enjoy the most difficult job you've ever faced, fatherhood. I'm going to keep it real and share real life experience. A heads up, there is no magic pill. You will have to put in the hours, sweat and tears to achieve victory. Are you ready to improve your health, wealth, relationships, knowledge and become the hero your family needs you to be? I know you are. So get your pen and paper ready and let's become fearless fathers together.
So here we go. Welcome to the 45th live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. I have a special guest, Michael Ashford. I've been checking him out a little bit on Facebook before, and he's actually been featured in a very cool magazine. And I saw 2 pictures, and I was like, "Whoa, that's amazing!" So congratulations on that, first of all, Michael. That's fantastic. And let's dive right in with that before we start going into your background.
Sounds good.
It said something in the regards of, from skinny to, I think it's a buff, or I would say just, well, wow, holy smoke. Let's dive into that, man. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go into more details about you. But yeah, I saw the 2 pictures, one on the beach, I don't know how many years ago, of you being skinny, and then all of a sudden the other picture, probably also on the beach, and you just ripped. So talk a little bit about that, about how did that come about, the why and everything, and how can somebody else, what's the secret behind getting such a transformation realized?
Well, let's start there. That transformation to the point where, Men's Health took notice of it. It came about because of one thing, and that is consistency. It is doing repeatable, sustainable things day in and day out that consistently move you towards a goal that you have. And for me, the goal that I set for myself and continue to try and strive for is to create a lifestyle, to create a way of living that not only puts me in the best possible way to serve myself and my interests, but also, of course, my family, and being there for as long as I possibly can for my wife, for my 2 children. And, with the way that our lifestyle is right now, with the way that we are becoming more and more sedentary as a society, I want to encourage other fathers to be active, to move, to live involved lives with their children, using fitness as the foundation for that involvement in their kids' lives. At the core of it is I want involved fathers in families. Families need fathers. And I want to use dads getting healthy, dads getting fit and being active as a way to not only keep the family unit together, but to keep fathers around for as long as they possibly can affect. And so if I go back to, that initial picture of the skinny me on the beach, that was back in 2012. I was on a business trip and brought my wife and my young son at the time along with me. We were walking on the beach one day after work, and my wife snapped that picture and showed it to me. And I didn't like it. I didn't like what I saw, not only because of the visual nature of what I was looking at in the picture, and I was just a skinny guy, no muscle definition, blah, blah, blah. I saw in that picture the fact that I was not doing everything that I could to live a healthy way, to live an active lifestyle that would set me up as much as I possibly can affect, to be there for my young family as much as I could. Understanding that things happen. Fate happens, and things that you cannot control can happen to you. But as much as I could control it, I wanted to be in control of my longevity, my activeness, my ability to be there for my family. So like I said at the beginning of this, it's been about consistency. It's about getting in the gym, 5-6 days a week. It's about eating in a nutritious and healthy and sustainable way. No fad diets, no unrealistic goals, no manic or roller coaster workout plans or diet plans. It's about consistency day in and day out. And that's the message that I try to preach to, whether it's somebody listening to my podcast or following me on social media or any of the clients that I work with as a fitness coach. It's all those things. So I know that's a really long-winded answer to your question, and we can certainly dive deeper if you got other questions there, but that's kind of where it all came from. And so thankful to Men's Health that they, reached out and said, "Hey, we'd love to feature you." So that was really cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, congratulations. It's fun when those things happen, when you've been building on it, because I've noticed from you, or at least that's, I saw the kid that, your son was really young, and now I saw another picture. He's a lot older. So it's been consistency, as you mentioned, but it's been something over years. It's just a nice little, let's say, cherry on top of the cake that shows your hard work, right? It's nice. It makes you feel good. It's not necessary, but it makes you feel like, yeah, I did that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's nice. So congrats again, man. That's awesome.
It's definitely validation for sure that the process works.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. It makes me come up with more questions. But before we dive further into that, man, Michael, can you share a little bit? What's your background? Who are you? A little bit of information about your family setup, etc.
Sure. So I have been married to my beautiful wife for almost 12 years now, about 11 and a half years. And we live in the Denver, Colorado area. And we have two wonderful children, a boy and a girl, Luke and Alexandra. And I grew up in the Midwest in Kansas City, on the Kansas side, I should say, for those of you that know the geography of the Midwest. There are two Kansas cities and they border each other, and one's in Missouri and one's in Kansas City. So I grew up on the Kansas side. Lived in the Midwest and then have been in Colorado for almost 4 years now. And we are just an active family. I mean, yesterday we were out on a hike, and that's one of the things that we love to do is just get out on hikes up in the mountains. And we were looking for a place specifically to snowshoe, but some of the snow melted. So, but I am in my full-time role, marketing director at a software company, and I've been leading marketing teams for about the last decade plus. And I started Fit Dad Fitness about, it's been 4.5 years now, I want to say.
Nice.
And that is all about encouraging fathers to live active, involved, healthy lives with their children. And I am a certified personal trainer, but that is all side passion project stuff. That's just what I do on the side to, again, encourage, motivate, inspire dads to be involved with their family, using fitness as the foundation for that. So that's kind of me in a nutshell, for sure.
Nice. I like the nutshell. Thanks for that. And again, just answer one and answer two just gives me so many more questions that I want to ask. So where to start, man? Let's dive right in. One of the things, right, that you mentioned that's so important. You mentioned you go 5-6 times to the gym. You do a lot of stuff right now. There's a lot of dads out there that are just out of shape and are just lost and just trying to find, like, where do I start? And one of the biggest problems that I see is all the hype out there, and really fit guys telling, like, oh, you should drink this, or you should eat that, or you should do this, whatever. And I just see men try it and give up right away, right? Is there actually, or what's your, let's ask it like that. Is there a hack, or is there some first step that would set somebody up for becoming healthy? And it doesn't, I also want, this is my opinion, it doesn't have to be healthy as you just ripped up, but just healthy, right? I mean, that's my opinion. Right? Healthy is healthy, right? If you're extra bulk, extra strong, then great. If that's your goal, then perfect. But just being healthy, what would be somebody's first good step to take that would set somebody up for success?
Well, I'm of the belief that negativity or fear or lack it has no place in fitness. And I think far too many people go that direction first and foremost. When they say, I want to get healthy, I want to get fit, they immediately start thinking about, well, it's because I don't like this, and I'm going to restrict this. I'm going to restrict what I eat. I'm going to, I'm nervous or I'm fearful about the gym. So it's a immediately starting with a negative mindset. And I always tell people, you've got to turn it on the positive. You've got to look at it from a positive point of view and say, what can I add? How can I supplement? How can I, and by supplement, I mean, how can I bring addition to, not using supplements? How can I boost up what I'm doing to be more effective with what I'm doing? And so from that perspective, I look at it as, from a movement or a physical fitness standpoint, just start moving more throughout your day. I mentioned it earlier. We are becoming more and more of a sedentary society. Even for my job, I sit in front of a computer for hours every day, but I make it a point to move, to get up, to walk around, to try to get my steps in. I have my Fitbit on constantly that tells me, hey, you haven't moved enough this hour. Move more throughout the day, and just try to find little things throughout the day that you can add to that begin to supplement your daily movement, your daily activity, whether that's just walking around the block, whether that is after you eat lunch, getting up and taking a walk down the street and back, whether that is doing push-ups and sit-ups and first thing when you get up in the morning, just to kind of get the blood flowing and moving. It's adding to what you're already doing. From a nutrition standpoint, again, that's another area where people immediately say, I want to get healthy and fit, so I'm going to start restricting. I'm going to start pulling away. So they say, no more carbs or no more fat or no more sugar. And they go to this extreme on the negative side. And what I always tell people is, let's start by adding things. Keep doing what you're doing for right now. We understand that there may be healthy, unhealthy things that you're doing, but let's focus on the positive and adding first. So let's try to eat one more serving of vegetables a day. Let's try to drink, 2 extra glasses of water a day. Let's try to, add, if you're craving something sweet, let's try to add in some fruit first before you eat that little piece of candy or what have you. But it's again, I always want to encourage the positive mindset rather than the negative. As you do that, because as you create those positive habits, they eventually begin to squeeze out the negative habits. And it just kind of happens on its own rather than something that you have to force yourself to do that you don't actually really want to do in the first place in that moment in time, right? And so that's, if there's a hack, that's what I would call it. Have the perspective of positivity and remove negativity and fear, because that does not have a place in fitness. I fully believe and as you build up these healthy habits, you begin to understand and get a better feel for what it is that you actually want to do. And you begin to also get a feel for what it is that you don't want to do. And those things begin to squeeze those things out.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And it just came in with a smack of all the mistakes that I've made over all the years. One of them is, of course, you get so excited, you start off, and then I have sore muscles for a week, and then I stop.
Yeah.
But that's why, and of course, letting go, like with the diet as well, what you mentioned is so true, because all of a sudden you're like, no, I got to live healthy. And then you get rid of all the chips and all the cookies and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you just get that craving coming up that you can't stop. And then it's just like you ate twice as much of what you did usually when you did it normal in a somewhat controlled way. So
yeah, it's unsustainable that way. You will eventually break. I found with most people is when you have that restrictive mindset, it eventually breaks you because it's not sustainable. It's not something that you've built up to over time. And especially for a lot of guys, a lot of dads, we have this all or nothing mentality or mindset. And it's just not the sustainable way to create and build a lifestyle change. It's great for flash in the pan results if that's what you want, but more often than not, the pendulum swings really hard the other way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I love that you share this, because it's a very important and powerful message. And we all want that body, but we don't understand that it just takes time. And then with which you mentioned earlier, the consistency, you will get there. Just be
Yeah.
patient. This would then be
Yes.
another advice, right? Just stick with it. Great, man, loving
Absolutely.
it. Thank you so much.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. I know you're really enjoying the show. Just want to make sure if you're liking this information, please subscribe and press the like button. And also go visit becomeafearlessfather.com. You get the opportunity to share your biggest challenge at the moment as a father, and it gives me the opportunity to try and help you overcome this. Thanks and enjoy the rest of the show.
So you got to. It's one of the things I already written up because I saw it on your Facebook and I'm like, wow, how does this guy do that? Because you just mentioned like you're a marketing director full time, so that's just a crazy insane job. All right, at least I'm going to assume so.
It
Then
is.
you got 2 kids. You got a beautiful wife of almost 12-year marriage, so she needs attention as well, I'm sure. And then you also got the podcast, which you're very focused on, and you got your passion, right? You want to help dads. So I'm sure that dads come to you to ask you for advice. And from what I've seen so far from you, you're a guy that really takes his time and really tries to deliver that impact to somebody's life, right? So my thought is like, dude, you only have 24 hours in a day. Please share with me. What's your secret? What's your hack? What do you do to make sure that you don't overwork yourself, don't overdo it, but just keep that consistency going? I guess that's the same thing, right? The same principle. But just share with us, how do you set that up? What do you do?
Well, I will say this. I've been tested on this before, and I have an insane amount of energy. I begin the day in what's called the force zone, that I'm basically a force of nature when it comes to my energy level. and my drain throughout the day, it really doesn't happen until about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
Nice.
So I just naturally have a lot of energy, but I attribute a lot of that to the fact that I do exercise and work out. That absolutely brings a level of energy. A lot of people might not understand or think that exercise and working out as hard as I do might remove energy from the equation. It gives me energy. It is life giving for in a lot of ways. But beyond that, let's say you don't have force level energy. It is being all in the activity that you are currently engaged in. So, and what I mean by that is when you are in the gym, be in the gym. Don't be on your phone. Don't be watching TV. Be there, be focused, if you have your headphones on, great, but it's something to focus you and be all in there.
Mm.
And then when you move into work time, be all in there. So many people, they think they have to fill an 8-hour or 9-hour workday, and so they waste so much of that time. 8 or 9 hours at work is an incredible amount of time to get work done, and I'm amazed at the amount of people that just simply think they can't get all of their work done in that amount of time. It's just like school. It drives me crazy. I do not believe in homework,
Mhm.
but it drives me crazy that our kids come home with homework and I'm like, you just had my kids for 7-8 hours today. What did you do? Why do they need homework? So that's a whole different topic, but be all in at work, get your work done, focus. One of the things that I absolutely love is an app called Brain FM. I use it all the time. Brain FM is fantastic. It's music that is created specifically to help you focus, to help you either relax or get you in a particular mood or state. But I use the focus music from Brain FM. So I just sit down and I go to work and I am all in there. Uh, Family time. So evening is family time. And I'm all in there. I'm the cook of our family, so I'm making our dinners, I'm making our meals to make sure that we are on track nutritionally. And then as much as I can, and I'm not perfect at this by any means, but as much as I can, I try to, leave work at work, leave, my fitness stuff on the side to where the family is not needing something of me or I'm not there, I can focus on those other things. And I just set out times throughout the day to figure that stuff out. And again, I'm not perfect by it. It's not as rigid, I think, as it sounds as I'm saying it out loud. But I had a guest on my podcast He was one of the first CrossFit Games champions. His
Mm-hmm.
name's Jason Khalipa. And he has this book out now called The AMRAP Mentality, as many reps as possible. And it's just really this idea of when you are there, when you are doing something, go as hard for as many reps as possible. Just be in that moment and do that thing and get it done, and then move on and check off the next thing off your list. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really, if I had to explain how I go about my day, it's really that. When I'm doing something, I'm all in, I get it done. And most of the time I get it done to where I actually have plenty of time throughout the day. I do a lot of things, but I have plenty of time throughout the day. Now, one thing I have sacrificed is I'm not a go out and be social kind of person with a bunch of friends. I have a very few friends that I see from time to time, but I've prioritized my life in terms of my purpose and what I believe I've created for, the people in my life that are most important to me, and the relationships that I value most, which are first and foremost my wife and kids. And then it's my passion, it's the fitness stuff, and then it's profession. And it's in that order that I prioritize my life. And even in people, when I made the commitment to get healthy and fit and go through that transformation that you saw, I had to squeeze things out of my life. Unfortunately, friendships did die. They passed by because I had different goals, a different set of ideals, and nothing was going to take away from my family time. And so, you do have to make sacrifices. Balance, I don't believe, exists in a lot of ways. So again, a long-winded answer to your question, but that's kind of how I make it through the day, man.
Nice. I love long-winded answers, so don't worry about that. You said something so important, and we need more fathers to be aware of that. And that is, and I'm going to read it what you said, prioritize your life, right? You have
Yeah.
such clarity on what comes first, what comes second, and what comes third, right? And that is the key. So I truly hope that the fathers that are listening to this right now, they make a note of that. And not just a note, please, I can't repeat this enough, take action. As soon as we're done, sit down and write down what that means for you. And if it's your business right now, because that's as well, right? If you're in your business at the first, and that's where you focus on, great. Communicate with your wife, sit down and make it work, and that's it. And that's just what you stick with, and that's fine. And that must help you out so much in making
Yeah.
decisions on the spot, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And so many guys create their identity in their profession. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, the profession is at the bottom of the list. Yes, it is how I provide for my family. Yes, it is how I put food on the table and pay the bills. But I've found in my life, if my profession ever jumps above my passions, for instance, in terms of the priorities in my life, I'm unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
If my work ever came above my fitness or hiking or college football games, I love American college football. Like if work ever pulled me away from those things, I feel unbalanced, and my life doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel in sync, and I get unhappy. People get unhappy when their life does not seem in sync or in the proper priority. Certainly, if profession ever jumps ahead of people, if your profession ever takes the place in your priority chain above your wife, your kids, your friends, you feel unhappy. You're not feeling like you're living the life that you were meant to live, I found. So again, I go back to those four kind of P's that I outlined. Your priorities should be lined up in this order. Your purpose for your life. For me, it is my faith and my belief in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So purpose is at the top of that. People, the people in your life, the relationships that matter most. Your passions, the things you love to do, the things that give you life, the things that you enjoy and gain pleasure from, and that provide a value to others as well. I'm not just talking about video games. I like to sit and play video games. No, it's something that serves a greater good, that ties into people and purpose. And then at the bottom of the list is profession. And not to say it's not important, it just has a hierarchy of prioritization in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that. The four P's. I just written it down. Thanks for sharing again.
Yeah.
That's so, yeah, really powerful. And as I mentioned, so many of us, and I think I keep reminding that as well for the people that have watched me before. Yeah, they keep hearing me say this as well. Zombie dads. That's a typical zombie dad. The zombie dad does not have that priority, and if he does, then his priority is profession, unhappy, working all the time, not spending time with his family, not spending time
Yeah.
with, and well, in your case, faith, for example, which is most important, and then of course your family, right?
Yeah.
So, and your passions. Right? So it makes a lot of sense. It just clicked for me as well in regards to why I keep saying, look, there's way too many zombie dads out there. We need, in my regards, fearless fathers or just fit dads, right? That's what we need more of.
Yes.
Great,
Right.
man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. So, in that regards, I also got to ask because you got two kids, right? Um,
Yes.
what are some of the things? Because that's I wanted to tie into something that you said earlier. You didn't just say, as a dad, you need to become fit. You mentioned you need to get fit as a family, as with your kids. So, do I understand it correctly then that you actually do stuff with your kids that help their fitness level, as far as you can call it that for that age? Um, yeah, do you do stuff together, or how do you set that up?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it looks a lot, it looks in a bunch of different ways. So
Mm-hmm.
it has never been anything that my wife and I have forced on our children. We
Mm-hmm.
have never said, oh, you need to go exercise, you need to go do this. It's never been anything like that. What it has been is it has been my wife and I setting the example for them. And what that looks like is, my wife is a certified personal trainer as well. We
Mm-hmm.
both go to the gym nearly every day, and so and a lot of times we take them to the gym with us. They know what we do. They understand what we do. We talk about exercise and fitness and health and nutrition all the time. So they hear us having those conversations. Oh, how was your workout today? Oh, it was great. I did this and I felt this way and I'm getting stronger here. They understand that, they hear that. And kids just absorb. They just absorb all of that. And so, we have a bunch of workout equipment here at home. One of the best things that I absolutely love it when they do is my kids set up exercise circuits all around the house. So they do like obstacle courses, and then you got to go over here and curl these dumbbells, and then you got to go over here and deadlift this kettlebell. They set these things up as play, but they're just repeating the behavior that they see from my wife and I. And that's really cool to see that. Funny enough, I like to do a lot of things outside of the gym too. So I love hiking, 14,000 foot mountains here in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
We go on a ton of hikes as a family. The kids haven't been up a 14er yet. They're a little bit too young for that, but someday. But I also love to do obstacle course races like Spartan Race or Warrior Dash.
Cool.
And again, I just signed up for one this summer, and I signed up and I was talking about it, and my son goes, I want to do that with you, Dad. And so I signed him up for the kids race, and he's going to do that with me at that Spartan race this summer. And again, I never asked him. I never asked about that. We constantly ask them, do you want to do this, try this new sport? Do you want to try this new activity? And we provide them the avenue to do that. And we always give them the option to decline, obviously, but more often than not, they say yes. In a lot of ways, my son a little bit more so than my daughter. My daughter is a little bit nervous, I think, about a lot of competition, but she's getting there. I think she's going to do track this year, track and field. So I think she's pretty excited about that, and she does dance as well. But we do absolutely love to just be active as a family. We go on walks all the time. We go to the park, and I'm a very active participant in the park experience. I love getting on the playground equipment as much as the kids. And yeah, we love hikes. My kids, I call them little mountain goats, because they just, you get them up on boulders and rocks up in the mountains, and they are alive. They come alive. So we do. But it comes down to, it's nothing that we force. It's simply setting the example for our kids in what a healthy, active lifestyle looks like. And the fact that we we never complain about it. It's fun. We enjoy it. Yes, we get sore, but we understand what it's doing to our body. We understand why we get sore. We understand why we eat the way that we eat, and then we have fun too. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we are a very active family.
Nice, man. Yeah, nobody saw that because I wasn't
Yes.
speaking. The moment you mentioned I'm going crazy in the playground, I was like, yes, another dad that does the same thing. Man, I go nuts. I love it. I always say I'm the biggest kid in the playground. Screw it.
Oh, 100%.
All right. So you and I, we got to hang out one time in the playground. Either you were
Right.
town or in my town. But yeah, I got to show these people how it's done. Awesome, man. I love it. So
Yeah.
I just got to ask one question because the fact that you mentioned, like, my wife is also a personal trainer, that just clicked and made a lot of sense. So they got two examples. Now, my wife is amazing. One thing that unfortunately she's not as good at is on her health part and eating wise and yeah, everything that goes in, Coke, chips, stuff like that. She's watching,
Yeah.
so can you see I'm a little mentioning this? She watches all my live interviews. Sorry, sweetie. But there's a conflict there. So what I was wanting to ask is, were you the first one as a personal trainer? Was she the first one? How did that work? And how did you, or was it both of you at the same time? Which then my question will go a little away. But, how do you get to a part where you were both on the same line in regards to health, eating healthy, working out and that kind of stuff? Because that's a little bit for us, especially when it comes to the kids. A struggle that we're having is she's more laid back as an come on, let them enjoy. And I have a little bit more difficulty because especially here in the playgrounds, it just seems like the parents just don't care and they bring so many chips and candy and stuff like that for me it's a struggle. And I say no, and then she's like, "How? Come on, let them enjoy a little bit." So, how did that work for you guys?
Yeah. So when I got into exercise and fitness, my wife did too. She signed up for the gym membership at the same time, and it was more so for her as a way to, with a young son and then a newborn daughter on the way, and especially after our daughter was born, my wife had a hard time. My daughter had colic, and so the first 6 to 12 months with my daughter, and my wife had left her job at that home at the time. Exercise was an escape. It was a way to get right mentally, get right, obviously healthy, but really it was more, she just needed that time to be in her own headspace and not elsewhere. So we started, I guess, our fitness journey at the same time for perhaps different reasons, but when we both decided at the same time to get certified as personal trainers. And that was a fun thing for us to do together. We went through the coursework together. We studied together. It was just something that as husband and wife, we did and encouraged each other in, and we made our way through that process together. And so she has her own, personal training side of the business that we co-operate, I guess, and does her thing. And then I do mine as operating as Fit Dad Fitness. So, but it is, and we are very much in lockstep and agreement with a lot of the things when it comes to the importance of exercise and our nutrition. Now, I mentioned earlier, I'm the cook of the family, so everybody has to do what I want when it comes to our nutrition, because I'm making all the meals. So sorry, fam, you get what I make, and but that goes to a deeper point. I'm an enormous believer in dads being able to know their way around the kitchen. They don't have to make every meal. They don't have to be the primary cook like I am, but know how to cook and understand cooking, being in the kitchen, that is not a woman's job. That is an anyone's job who takes an interest in it and who wants to understand what goes into their food and preparing their food. It's not gender based. And so I love being in the kitchen. It is cathartic to me. It's a way for me to wind down after work and ease into family time. And when you cook your meals, you have so much of a greater appreciation for what goes into it and the things that you are eating and consuming. Now, you mentioned snacks for the kids. We we're not super strict there, but we also don't keep a lot of junk in the house. I mean, we simply we don't buy soda. It just doesn't happen. They may have a soda if we go out once every 3 months to a restaurant. But it's a treat, and they understand why it's a treat. We talk to them about sugar and the effects that it has on our bodies. Most of the time, if we have something maybe a little bit unhealthier in the house for a snack, we always talk to them about, hey, you need to start with a healthier snack. So if you want that piece of candy, then go have a piece of fruit, or go have like an apple or an orange or something like that, or a banana. Go have something healthy first to fill yourself up, so that you're not gorging yourself on candy. And so there's just, like I said, we're not super strict with it, but we try to, as much as we can, explain why we don't keep random cookies in the house all the time. Those are a treat, and we want to indulge in those things from time to time, just not every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I think it's more me than it's my wife, actually, now that the way you explain it, because she is the one that I hate cooking. So I know my way around the kitchen. I just hate cooking. I don't like it. However, she cooks, and she cooks very healthy for us. And plus, in our house, it's very healthy. Just the biggest issue I have is the whole park thing. But you just mentioned just got to be a little relaxed. And you gave me a solid tip there to first make sure that they fill themselves with something healthy, so they don't want to eat so much. So I'm going to think about that one. Because I go with them every single day. I live in Spain, so for the people that don't know, I live in Spain, and the weather's starting to get really nice. So we are out in the park every single day for at least 2 to 3 hours. And they get hungry. And as I mentioned, it's just seems that other parents just love filling their kids up with tons of sugar, and then get frustrated with them when they get all hyper. Right? So, it's just so funny to me. But yeah, that's a whole
and that's another thing too, is when your kids have a lot of sugar, at least our kids, you can see the mood change. So you see the happy, hyper crazy, but then not long after that, I don't know how it is with your kids, but then you see the mood shift change, and they get cranky and whiny and upset. And I, as much as I can, I try to point that out to them. Like, look, you guys had all of that candy, and yeah, you got really hyper for a while, and you drove mom and dad nuts for a little bit, but now you're upset. You don't feel right. You feel cranky. You feel upset. You feel, not in a good mood. And that's what sugar does to you. You have those high, super high fluctuations that cause you to go to the extremes, the really high hyper, and then the crash. And that's what happens when our blood sugar goes insane and gets out of whack like that. As much as you can, explain that to your kids. They get it. They understand it. They absorb more information than I think a lot of parents give them credit for. So tie it all together for them, and make them and help them understand behavior versus how they're fueling their body. And again, it's not something I do every time. A lot of times it's just I throw my hands up in exasperation, and I'm like, no, I'm done with this. But as much as you can, try to explain it to them so that they begin to make those connections.
I like that. Yeah. The one is 3. So he's not doing that much connection. And he is smart, because he knows exactly where the biggest bag of candy is. I mean, sometimes I can't find him. I know exactly where to look. It's like, just figure out where the biggest bag of candy is, and I look, and he's right there. Can I have some? Can I have some? In Spanish, but it's always the same. Can I have some? Can I have some? Hey, it's good. He's not afraid to ask, which is great, because that's most kids as well, right? That they're scared to ask, and that turns later on in different problems. But still, I would have wished that he would ask a little less. Anyway, saying that, one of the things you mentioned as well earlier that I want to tie up in a little bit is that you say, look, accidents can happen, right? You can cross the street, a car can come, and unfortunately that would be it. However, you mentioned something very important, and it's one of the discussions that I'm having with people, is like, because they smoke and they're out of shape. No, let's call it real. They're fat, right? And unhealthy, and all the time they're sick. Like every time I see them, something's wrong, etc.
Yeah.
And then there's like, oh, why did you stop smoking? No. I'm enjoying myself. I'm gonna die anyway, right? You're gonna die anyway. So what are you going through all that trouble? And that's something that I don't even go into that discussion because I don't even know what to say. What's your maybe a little bit more in-depth philosophy on that fact that you mentioned? Like, I want to be in control of my life. I want to be in control of what you mentioned. Let me look up the word real quick.
Yeah.
Longevity. Sorry. What's your view? What's your philosophy on that?
Well, yes, of course, we're all going to die. That is inevitable, and there's nothing we can do to stop that fact. Now, beyond that, it's what do you do with your life in the in between from birth to that moment of death, and how do you want to feel? How do you want to experience life? Do you want to do it in a source of constant from a source of constant pain, from a source of constant trouble? Being sick, being unhealthy, being out of shape, it's expensive. Just from a monetary standpoint, do you want your money to go towards your hospital bill, or do you want it to go towards a trip with your family? I mean, that's really what we're talking about here, is experiencing life in the way that I think it was meant to be experienced and lived, and doing it from a standpoint where you get to experience the moments in life that will mean the most to you far, far into the future. I I want to be able to walk this little girl down the aisle.
There you go.
You know, I want to be able and do it under my own power. I don't want help to do that. I want to be able to hold my grandchildren in my hands and feel stable. I want to be the grandpa that can get down on his hands and knees with his grandchildren and play and jump and laugh and have fun. I want to go out when I'm 80 and be able to garden out in the garden with my wife and grow vegetables. It's about filling your life with the experiences that make life so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Not feeling in constant pain, not feeling like just walking up a flight of steps is going to send you into a heart attack, not being able to do things because you don't think you're physically able to do it. How many times do you hear people say, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that. Well, you can, but it takes commitment. It takes sacrifice. It takes having a longevity and legacy focused mindset that you've got to sacrifice in the here and now, that you've got to put your immediate wants behind your long-term needs, right? You have these needs and these things that you want to do for your life and that you want for your life that reach far beyond into the future. And so even up to the point of death, which is again inevitable, it's about filling those moments with things that mean the most to you. And to me, I can't imagine a world where another cigarette would mean more to me than spending another day with my family. And when you put it in that long-term view and have that long-term perspective, the answer becomes really easy to me. It just does. And I understand we're talking about things with addiction. We're talking about things that have a grip on us that we don't see a way to get out of it. But then that goes back to what I talked about earlier. Begin to add in healthy habits that will eventually squeeze out the bad. And there will come a point where you will have to make a commitment and say, look, I'm no longer going to do this thing, but it's because I've supplemented and I've added to my life in these other ways that give me more pleasure than this negative thing. Right? It's just it is a passion of mine because there is so much life to be had, man. There is so much life to live. There is so much that you can do with the days that you've been given on this earth. And I can't imagine, sitting back and consciously making the decision to live in a state of hurt and pain and disuse of the body, the physical tool that you've been given. And I understand no matter where you're at, that may be harder for you than others because of circumstances, because of setup, because of abilities, or because of opportunities. It's the same. It is everyone has a different story to tell, but I am also saying everyone has things they can do to advance themselves in that way. And so it's yeah, it's that's what I would say to that question, is just fill your life with the things that are going to leave the longest impact on your life in a healthy, positive, fun, meaningful way.
Absolutely. And that again ties into what you mentioned earlier, your 4 Ps, right? It just, I
Yeah.
can feel that red line going through and just coming
Yes. Yeah.
So Alexandra can't hear me, but she's a lucky daughter. She's got a very amazing father, man. I love it. Thanks for sharing. I love your vision on health. So that's crazy. So I gotta ask, and I got tons of more questions, but I want to ask because we're getting close to the end. I want to ask something more personal.
Yeah.
I'm again working on. I'm working out. I got this great kettlebell workout that I'm doing, and then I'm again working on my nutrition. And as you mentioned, like you really have to analyze as well. You know, for everybody it's different. What you eat, how you feel, etc. So you really got to check out and be consistent in what you do, and then change things. You mentioned, like, you know, I'm naturally energetic. I'm actually as well, but I've noticed that since I wasn't working out for a long time, that energy left and left and left and left. Now that it's getting back, I still feel like at like 5:36ish, which is actually like the biggest time that I got to be most active with my kids, is when I feel my energy just go, and I'm like, ooh, I want to eat some, I don't know, like a Twix or a I don't know, some chocolate bar that gives me energy, or drink that Gatorade bottle or whatever, right? Thinking that will help me get up and make it through. Um, what would be your advice? What could, is it just a matter of hanging in there and keep going because it will get better? Or what are some of the hacks that I could add into my life, or anybody that's suffering, or not suffering, that sounds really harsh, but who's struggling sounds a little bit better. With something similar.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, I mean, if you want a, if you feel that craving or that urge to have, you know, a candy bar or something, one of the things that I always tell people is have a piece of fruit. You know, have an orange, which is very sweet, or a ripe banana, which is very sweet. And the thing about it is, those are non-processed sugars. Those are more bioavailable sugars that your body can use and give you that natural level of energy. Perhaps have some green tea. You know, it doesn't have quite the strength of coffee, so having it a little bit later in the day can be a little bit of that boost, that pick me up that maybe gets you through those final few hours of the day. You know, go on a walk. You know, just take a little walk around the block. Getting outside has been scientifically proven to do wonders for people's energy level. And so anytime you feel kind of that energy drain, and it's the middle of the day and you're still facing down the barrel of I've got 4 more hours that I need to be on it, I need to be dad, I need to be husband, I need to be worker, you know, do things that are going to naturally boost your energy level. Do so. Eat fruit, or eat something that has, you know, bioavailable carbohydrates in it, in the form of those sugars that come in, that naturally occur in fruit. Exercise, go on a walk, do movement. You know, if you can't go outside and do a walk, do some body weight squats and some push-ups. Get the blood flowing, get the energy level back up. Do something to get your endorphins kicking in again. And then what else did I say? Oh, the green tea. You know, just if you can, if it won't keep you up too late at night, do a little bit of green tea. But yeah, it really just comes down to eating it and fueling your body in the right way that'll get you through the day. And that's not just in those moments where you feel like broken down or without energy. It's throughout the day. Start thinking of your food as the fuel for your body and the activities that you do, and you'll look at food a different way. You know, is this candy bar going to fuel me in that workout, or is it going to fuel the muscle growth that I want? No, it's not. It's going to give me a really high blood sugar spike, which is going to cause my body's systems to go into overdrive to get my blood sugar back down. And then you start having all other sorts of health issues that come into play there. But that orange, that really juicy piece, that really juicy orange that just tastes sweet and is natural, and as much as you can organic. By the way, I'm a big organic fan.
Mhm.
Do things that will naturally boost you up.
Exactly. So in that regards, and I understand, as you mentioned, you first try to add stuff, and then later you're gonna deduct the sugar. Um, Too late now. I should have known this a couple of weeks ago, but that's fine. I got it under control. I just have one doubt, and maybe you can shine light on this. I love honey,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's good or if it's bad. Now it's organic honey. Is that the right? Do you say it like that? Organic honey?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Okay. Good.
not. And so honey's natural. So honey's produced. I'm all about eating food as close to its natural form as possible. And
Mm,
so honey is there. It's you could go out to a beehive right now and eat honey, and it would pretty much taste the same.
mm,
So it's a great natural sweetener. Even maple syrup, it's more close to its natural form than refined cane sugar.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I mean, if you need a little bit something sweet in your coffee or your tea, use, but do it in moderation. I love these, I love these people that drink, for instance, a Diet Coke, um, and think that they're in some way being healthier, when in reality, the chemicals and the things that they put in there to make it sweet like sugar are no more healthy for you than just having sugar. So if you want a Coke, have a Coke. You're not doing yourself any favors by having a Diet Coke and getting those chemicals that produce the false sweetness. So eat foods that are as natural in their form as possible. And honey, maple syrup, those are things that we use as substitutes for sugar. Coconut sugar is another great
mm.
example of a more natural sweetener if you need it. But yeah, honey is fine.
Awesome. Whew.
Yeah.
I can't give up my honey yet.
Yeah.
I use it, yeah, in the tea, especially the weather is still changing a little bit, so especially for the throat, but also
Yeah.
in my oatmeal. I eat oatmeal with
Hmm.
stuff in it,
Yep.
and I love.
I eat oatmeal every morning for sure.
I,
And something else that I want to mention that I've kind of skated around a couple times, but I want to make this clear to anybody listening. There is no shame in starting over.
mm,
As many times as you start over, if you've tried to do a workout program, if you've tried to get right nutritionally, and you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, there's no shame in that. I want to make that clear. The only shame is in never starting again, in trying something and saying, well, that didn't work for me, so I'm never doing it again.
mm,
Try as many different ways and as many different types of exercise or nutrition to find what works for you in a sustainable long-term way. But don't ever think that starting and stopping is in some way shameful, because at least you're trying, you're putting in the effort, and you'll eventually find something that sticks if you make adjustments. The
mm.
definition of insanity is just trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Don't fall into that mindset. Try different things. What works for me, I love to get in the gym and lift weights, but that doesn't always work for people in the style that I lift weights. So try exercising in a way that you find enjoyable, and something that you'll do every day.
Mhm.
And that's what it comes down to, is just sustainability and enjoyability. Again, negativity and fear have no place in fitness.
Exactly. That's a a great way to come to an end of this live interview. And yeah, absolutely, we keep hearing it all the time, or at least me. I'm listening to a lot of motivational video, and they keep saying, like, keep that vision, just change your
Yeah.
strategy on how to get there,
Yeah.
and you will get there. And that's what it is, right? If you have that vision, you have that goal. I want to get fit, I want to get energetic, I want to be that fit dad, then just find different ways to get there. I love it.
Yeah.
So besides following you on your podcast, Fit Dad Fitness, right? How else can fathers that have been watching this and are excited and are like, I want to get to know Michael better. I have some other questions, such as me. How can
Yeah.
they get in contact with you and find out more about you?
Sure. So the hub of everything that I do is fitdadfitness.com. And that's where, I have the featured fit dad of the month. I post a lot of educational blogs. I post all the podcast episodes there. I have free workout guides. So for all different levels. So I have something called the Fit Dad Kickstarter, which, has a bunch of different style workout plans to kind of help you figure out what you like best included in that. Plus it has a nutrition guide and an example meal plan so that you can begin to understand what a sustainable, healthy, non-fad diet meal plan looks like and understand macro breakdowns and I'm trying to give guys as much information as they can to set them up for success. If you're a little bit more advanced, if you want to do the exact workouts that I did when I was starting my fitness journey, you can go download Project Size and Project Size 2 completely for free. And it's all there on the website. I've also got, my Daily Fit Dad, which is my membership site, and then custom clients as well, but we don't need to get into that. But fitdadfitness.com is the hub of all and everything. You mentioned the Fit Dad Fitness podcast. Anybody can email me, michael@fitdadfitness.com. And then I'm on Instagram and Twitter @FitDadFitness and on Facebook @FitDadFitness page.
Nice. Great. I appreciate that. Michael, thank you so much for being online. I had a blast. I'm checking the time and the hour is over. It went insanely fast, but you have shared so much golden nuggets, as I call them, with us. I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. Everybody's been watching this. Thanks for joining us again. We'll see each other very soon on our next live interview. And I wish you a fantastic and inspiring day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out, you got no time for yourself to work out, read, relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy and confident, spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams? You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.